dirigirse a la Asamblea.
Your Excellency, President of the General Assembly, Your Excellency, Secretary General of the United Nations, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to congratulate you, Mr. President, on your election as President of the 7th session of the United Nations General Assembly. Your credentials are impeccable, and I'm confident that you'll steer the affairs of this august body to a successful conclusion with all your objectives and aspirations fulfilled. I assure you of my delegation's support. Let me also thank His Excellency Sam Kutesa, outgoing President of Uganda, from our sister country Uganda, for his untiring efforts during his presidency. His dedication to the work of the UN is commendable. I also reiterate my support to the Secretary General as he strives to realize the purposes of the Charter of the United Nations. Mr. President, the theme of this year's general debate, the UN 70, the road ahead for peace, security, and human rights, has come at the most opportune time, for it fittingly summarizes the core business of the United Nations at its inception, now, and in future. That is, the maintenance of international peace and security. Mr. President, the UN was created on the understanding that peace is not just the absence of war, but that it comes with struggles, compromises, sacrifice, and choice we make as nations, as individuals, for the benefit of humanity. We cannot realize our common sense of peace without justice, dignity, and freedom. We can rejoice that in the 70 years of the work of the United Nations, we have collectively averted another world war. However, during the same period, we have lived in fear, with uncertainty, in a world tainted by conflicts, poverty, and violence that have endangered our very existence. Mr. President, as we live in this imperfect world, the pursuit for peace should be our main goal if we are to shape our promised world for our future generations to come. I must therefore commend the Secretary General for convening the high-level panel on peace missions to review current peace operations and emerging needs of the future in prevention and resolution of conflicts. The report of the panel, submitted in June this year, has highlighted some important issues that I feel as members of the global family need to be considered and taken seriously. I would like to mention just a few of the issues which demand our attention as members of the United Nations. First, peace missions should be guided by a focus on political solutions, whereby emphasis should be placed on conflict prevention through political means with bias on people-centered solutions as well as protection of civilians. Two, there is need for comprehensive peace and security partnerships involving the United Nations Security Council, regional actors, and national mechanisms. Three, the world through the United Nations should find a way of compensating people who have suffered abuse. And four, there's greater need for political will by all actors to peace missions, to just mention a few. Mr. President, let me now touch on a number of important issues which have been on the agenda of the United Nations for quite some time. That is the reform of the United Nations Security Council. I have followed with keen interest the intergovernmental negotiations on how the Security Council can be reformed to make it more representative, democratic, effective, transparent, and accountable to all. The Ozuni Consensus and the City Declarations are our guiding principles in this endeavor. Our quest for peace and security should be hinged on the sustainable socio-economic development for our people. Development that is true meaning and reflection on the life of our people. Despite right progress among member states and developing countries in particular, the main development goals, MDGs, have proved that unity of purpose is critical to transforming the world to a better place for our children and future generations. My government is grateful to development partners who worked with us from Malawi to achieve 4 of the 8 MDGs, namely 1, reducing child mortality, 2, combating HIV and AIDS, and malaria and other diseases, 3, ensuring environmental sustainability, and 4, developing a global partnership for development. It is evident that as a country, we embark on the implementation of the post-2015 development agenda with unfinished business. It is therefore imperative that as we move to implement this new global development agenda, we should be mindful of the important role that global partnership can play for effective development cooperation, plays ensuring successful implementation of programs in the developing countries.